Hello and welcome back to another Syracuse University esports broadcast. It's day number 4 of the Power Esports Conference, and that means we've got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate coming at you tonight. My name's Ryan Blankenhorn, and of course, we've had change-ups all week, so tonight on the desk, I've got Izzy Kaplan with me. Izzy, how are you feeling tonight?
Super excited. Smash team is looking great, and on top of that, we're closing out our last game of the Power Esports Conference this week.
Absolutely. Last game, indeed. Day 1 was Rocket League. Day 2 was Overwatch. Day 3 was Valorant. And today is Smash. Still the same opponents. We've got Syracuse University and Boise State University. The orange and the blue. And tonight is the night. Syracuse, they're looking for something, right? We've had some struggles in the week so far, but tonight's that night that they're going to be looking for that win. Something to put on that board, because this rivalry is one of tales past. And you may think, Ryan, it's the start of the PEC. How has this rivalry been alive so long? Well, it involves 2 doctors, a Graziak and a Haskell. But we're not going to get there, not right now. But we've got Smash coming up, and our first 2 opponents are going to be Donkey Kong and Oliver. Izzy?
So, Syracuse has a more heavy kind of feel going for it, whereas Boise State is looking to use Olimar, who is known for more of a, light but powerful attack. He jabs, and he's also really strong with the ults.
Yeah, and with these 2 players, right, Supersonic is going to be that Oliver from the side of Boise State. For Syracuse, that's going to be Milsharks, right? Both these players very, very strong. That's why you got to throw them out there first. And, of course, one of the big things with Smash Bros. In general, right, just to explain for those of you who don't understand quite what you're about to see, it's a best-of-3 game mode, right? So first of 2 is going to take the series. There are 4 members on the team, 3 stocks each. That's why you're going to see 12 and 12 in the tops of your screens. And players are going to go and fight up against each other going into that fight. And, okay, quite a little bit of a difference here is going to be a Donkey Kong coming out from Boise State, not the Olimar. So a double heavy battle. Izzy, what do we make out of this?
I mean, we got 2 heavies on this rather than Olimar. King DDD is a great pick if you know what you're doing with him. Then again, Donkey Kong's also pretty strong. Both of them pack heavy hits, but both of them can take the hits too. So if whoever can dish out the most hits the fastest is going to be the winner probably.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things, right? When we talk about games like Smash Brothers, it's all about getting that percentage up. And with these heavies, it's very different than some of these mediums and lights, right? Normally when you're in that hundreds, you're in that 150, you're gone. And just like that, as I'm saying that, we're going to see Ado is going to fall down already. But as I was saying, that's the thing with these heavies, right? They can take those hits, right? As long as no combos come in, like we just saw from BSU there, you're going to be able to live a lot longer than some of these other lighter characters like a Yoshi or a Luigi, which we may see later today from Syracuse.
Yes, definitely. Characters like Luigi are more headstrong, straight to the point, but these kind of characters, you got to be careful because one hit can immediately bring up your percentage like crazy. At the same time, BSU's
very well played coming out from BSU, just finding those combos, and that is the scariest part about this BSU player. For those of you curious, that is going to be Leodog on the side of Boise State, a really, really good King DDD player. If I'm correct, 9th best in the state of Idaho on this character, so extremely talented on King DDD. And if you're Syracuse here, right, one of the big things with these crew battles is you want to keep them even, right? Obviously, you want to be the one who wins the battle in the end, but you don't want to be the team that doesn't find a single stock on your opponent. That's going to put you at a big disadvantage. This could be the shot that Syracuse needs, Izzy, but at right now, still 103%. What do we think we need to see from Ado?
I mean, right now we're seeing a lot of aerial battles, not much on the ground. This might... Nope, not quite. We need more heavy hits. If we could just get him off the side of the map or a heavy enough hit, because he is at 150%, 58%. So, could this do it?
Getting close there indeed,
quite.
Right? And that's what I was talking about earlier. These heavy characters, they can just live for so long. And like you were saying, right, we're seeing a lot of aerial fights, but in the end, Ado will find that final hit and will take 3 stocks to Syracuse there. And just like that, Leodog, a nice clean sweep there on to the Donkey Kong for the side of Syracuse Milsharks there. And now you got to think some things through, right? We have some good players from the side of Syracuse. We have Luigi's, we have Yoshi's, we potentially have some Roy's or Mimi's coming in as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind going into this next round. Of course, if you are Boise State, you're stuck on King DDD, right? That is who you're going to be playing into this next round. So, Izzy, from the roster we know from Syracuse, right? From some of these players playing Luigi, playing Yoshi, right? King DDD themselves, what do you think we might see going into this next round?
Well, I'm thinking we're going, oh, wow, another King DDD. So I guess no counter picks. We'll have a heavy versus a heavy, DDD versus DDD. I was hoping to see maybe some of Luigi or something, very headstrong, heavy hits, but can also take the hits. So it's a good mix. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I guess may the best DDD win.
Absolutely, and that's what it is, right? Sometimes your best option is just that mirror matchup, right? I'm an Overwatch guy. That's where I came from. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just mirror the matchup, right? And that's what we're going to see coming out from Syracuse here, throwing in their King DDD player, and looking for that win. So I'm curious to see from these two members going out, right? In terms of these DDDs, right, you're going to see the same types of combos, the same types of movements, just as we saw from the previous round. It's just going to be a matter of who can find those combos better and adapting their playstyle as we go into this game. The good thing for Syracuse here, right, they've already seen what this King DD player plays like for the side of Boise State. So if you're Syracuse here, Izzy, what do you think we really want to see more of from Syracuse?
Well, I think Boise has definitely been utilizing the ranged attack on DDD, so I'd like to see some more up-close battle, but try to keep it more on the ground because I think the aerial is definitely Boise's strong spot, especially when hitting them out of the air with that ranged attack.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's it, right? Like you were saying, a lot of these ranged attacks, a little bit of aerials as well, looking for that value. One of the things with King DDD is you can take that aerial fight, right? And you have a good recovery if you need it, right? That's one thing about King DDD, a little bit of that Kirby style of gameplay, right? You have that ability to really find that recovery if you need to, so you can take the aerial battles, you can take a lot of edge guard battles. You don't really want to take them right there, though, right? Not in the middle, because you can just go back and forth after a while, and yeah, a combo could send you off the map, but if you really want to find that value, you want to look for those range attacks, you want to send that stun out and really send your opponent into the void.
Definitely, and also we saw a little bit of the use of that suck and attack, the grab attack. Wasn't used too much, especially because Donkey Kong is so close. Didn't want to get him too close because DDD was able to still use his range, but in this round, it's going to be hard to tell who's going to utilize what because, again, a mirror pick, it's hard to see. Can't counter a counter.
Yeah, and Syracuse, right, you know, we kind of mentioned it just briefly in that previous round. You don't want to be the team on the back burner in these situations because now not only do you need to even up the score for the side of Syracuse by taking 3 stocks of your own, but you also need to start getting some value on that next opponent that Boise State is going to throw in. And you want to make sure that not only you take 3, but maybe take 4 or 5 and start sending it into a nice bit of an even battle. Like we were mentioning, going to see that mirror battle of these King DDDs. Nice little cute little, you know, duck-looking face there. I don't actually technically know what King DDD is. Do you, Izzy?
I want to say he's some sort of large duck. Can't be totally sure, though. Maybe one of the ones you overfeed at a pond, give too much bread to.
Yeah. But it looks like we are just going to see a quick little button test here from both teams. So nothing is going to happen quite yet here, but mostly just testing out. Make sure there's no input delay as they go into this fight. But right, like I was saying, you're going to be looking to take those stocks. You're going to be looking to even it up and then go into your next round. It's very difficult to find your way back in these situations, which is why you sometimes have to change up your order, change up who you put in, right? One word that's thrown around a lot in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the term anchor, right? That 4th player that is really dependent on bringing in that sort of extra 3, 4, 5, 6 stocks. And right now for Syracuse, right, the question is, do you believe that this King DD is going to be your anchor, or do you save them and sort of keep them for a little bit later tonight?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we're definitely going to have to see. So far, their DDD has put up a really good fight. We have to have faith in ours, and hopefully they're able to fight it out a bit, but Syracuse will come out on top, hopefully. Hard to say because, you know, DDD versus DDD, definitely going to be a little chaotic.
Exactly.
Oh, immediately.
Definitely going to be a little chaotic. And for those of you curious, last round was Mill Sharks on the Donkey Kong. This round is going to be 8-0 on the King DDD. So that is your mirror matchup here. And a great start, already getting some percentage up. But, you know, we've kind of discussed this, right? These heavier, tanky characters, they can survive for a lot longer, right? Go into that 150, 160, and still feel relatively safe.
Yes. Definitely. And we're seeing here use of both the ranged attacks and the closer ones. See lots of the suck-in attacks and also lots of the hits. I mean, BSU has a few hits in, but we're already up to 86%. But like we were saying, doesn't mean too much when they're this tanky, this beefy. So it's really a matter of who can get more hits in and who can get the more percentage.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to sort of bring to everyone's attention here is what we're seeing from Boise State. It's a lot of this ranged attack. That's really what they're kind of trusting to get the most value. They go for the range and then go for that combo. Syracuse, on the other hand, struggling to find that exact spike ball combo, and Boise State is just nailing it to perfection at the moment, which is finding some struggle for Syracuse. But like we were saying earlier, right, this mirror battle, it's going to make it a little bit more even. Both of these characters above that 100% threshold and just taking this battle back and forth. But eventually those spike balls, one combo will send you skyrocketing.
Yes, that was a very nice hit. Nice. Very nice job on Syracuse's part. Just got one stock down. And it seems to be a lot of edge guarding on both sides, just trying to get them off the edge and keep them off the edge.
Yeah, and that's a great stock for Syracuse here, right? One of the things you want to see all three stocks taken for Syracuse with none lost. Unfortunately, they will take one stock of their own, but that's not bad yet, right? One of the things with this King DDD character is you can survive for a very, very long time. Yes, you're light in terms of very airy, right? A very large duck here. But you have the ability to take these hits, and you have the ability to just sort of put up that fight against Boise State. Relatively even here, I might add, right? 2-2, 52-61, right? Both these players doing a very, very good job in just reading. A lot of Smash is reading the other opponent, predicting their moves, going for those parries, going for those shield blocks, and then immediately finding a counterplay of your own.
Yes, definitely a lot of parries going on, getting them up in the air, not necessarily doing aerial attacks, but avoiding the attacks, using the air to their advantage, because as we see, the spike balls don't reach heights not high enough to be a strong ranged attack. And also, we are at 80 to 89. Oh, some hits in on Syracuse towards the edge.
Oh, wow. A good play comes out from Syracuse, able to grab them off the edge. And this is what we were talking about earlier, right? When you take these fights in the aerial, right? Yes, you have a good recovery, but then you're not focusing on this spike ball action. You're really just playing off the edge, looking to prevent the other one from taking that recovery. Because once you take it out, there is no returning, especially on a stage like Pokemon Stadium.
Yes, and it looks like the main goal at this point is to just get as many hits as fast as possible and not let them even touch the ground or have a chance to attack. Kind of similar to those lighter champions or characters that you see who will just continuously use their attacks to just build up.
Just like that, survives. These tanky characters able to take big hits, but you know, once you hit about 200%, almost anyone's going to go off the map there. But just like this, right? Syracuse at 7 stocks remaining here. They really need to take out this King DDD, right? We have some other players on the side of Syracuse, but you don't want to lose 6 stocks to Boise State's 2, right? That's just not going to be a very good trade for you, and Boise State is just playing this King DDD very, very well. Syracuse, though, has a good percentage advantage. You just can't let these combos come in from Boise State. A good parry will come in, and now Syracuse finding that pattern, finding that way to go back and send BSU's King DDD off to the edge, and there it is, Izzy.
Nice job, Syracuse, having 1 stock left, so now it is 2. I cannot do math. I think we've lost 5 stocks?
Yes, yeah. So, you know, that's unfortunately, like, right, for Syracuse, that's a lot of stocks lost, but you're able to take out one of those very scary players, right? We were talking about it earlier a little bit. 9th best in the state of Idaho. You know, they're not just known for potatoes up there, they're also known for their King DDD players, but Boise State, they're going to lose that player now, and now they're going to have to think about who they want to send in next, right? And that's up to them now, right? And this is where sort of that fallback comes in on the Syracuse, right? You know that they're going to play a King DDD because they have to. They have 1 stock left. If you're Boise State, you just want to throw in someone to take out that stock and maybe go for a little bit extra here. So, Izzy, if you're Boise State here, right, you have the lead. There's 1 stock left on the King DDD for the side of Syracuse. Who do you put in next?
I mean, I can't even get too specific because I can't even think of an exact person, but for kind of classification-wise, I would say someone who could just rush in, get a lot of damage in super fast so that King DDD has no time to react. Because, again, he's so tanky and so heavy that it's hard to get him to go flying off the map super easily.
Yeah, and I totally agree, right? If you send someone in who can really just go in and do a lot of percentage really fast, you're going to make it very difficult, right? And that's where characters like Pyramithra or a Joker we could see come in, right? Because all you have to do, send them in, they have the range and they have the ability to take a lot of close range poke as well. But if you're a Joker, you also are going to get that extra ability, right? Once you fill up that meter, you're going to be able to be a lot tankier and take those fights with players like King DDDs. But if you are Boise State here, do you send that out now, right? You've already lost one player to Syracuse's one as well. Do you want to sort of bring out that secret card yet? Or do you just want to try to make Syracuse have to predict who you're playing next?
I think they're probably going to keep us on our toes for sure. If I could predict, I would see someone more towards like the Pikachu route, who is kind of close, but the attacks are so fast-paced that there's not even time to react. And there are long-range attacks because I feel someone as Joker is too strong to bring out this early on.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you there. And, while we sort of get ready to get into that next matchup, we kind of breezed through it. The action just went straight into the game. For those of you curious, right, just tuning in for this week's game, what exactly is the PEC, the Power Esports Conference? I'll explain that here in a second. Our matchup will be King DDD and Palantina. Wow. This is an interesting pick here, Izzy, right? Seeing a character like Palantina come out from this gameplay, right? Dr. Schmungus, I believe, is senior for the side of Boise State. Why do you think we see the Palantina come out here?
If I had to guess, I think it's because she's known for being pretty strong against tankier people, but also that she's not too strong. So they're not wasting someone too powerful early on, but at the same time, they will be able to take this one stock from Syracuse. They hope to take it pretty swiftly.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's one of the thing you have to be aware of if you are BSUs, right? You're on a light character. Palantina, once you're at that 100, 120%, you are gone, right? But these combos from Palantina will just rack up that percentage, right? We just saw 3 combos sending you up to about 40%, to the one hit that, Ado we see gets a hit there, about 31%. That's what your give and take if you play these light characters, right? You can get in, you do a lot of percentage like you were mentioning earlier before this round started, but on the flip side, you can get sent off very, very fast if you're not careful.
Yes, definitely. Weaker on the defense for sure.
And this is where that Palantina comes into play, right, Izzy?
Yes.
You can just do so much. And especially you have a little bit that long range as well, right? A good parry will come in from the side of Syracuse, but no follow-up is going to be there until that next hit goes in. 100% to the 73. Palantina, a little bit in a risky spot here. 1 or 2 more hits will send them flying off the map, Izzy.
Yes, and this range on Palantina is definitely stronger than DDD's. Then again, he does have good range for a heavier, tankier character, but he's not known as a ranged character. So it's interesting to see how he fights back against Palantina, and she is sent up at 96%. I think 1 or 2 more hits and she could be done.
Exactly, yeah, but a great turnaround will be sent in from Palantina from the side of Boise State, but it's not going to matter. Syracuse will be able to find that one stock, and that is that scary part about playing those lights against these heavies, is you are so much in a risky spot here. Boise State, they had a wonderful lead here, but it's starting to slip away from them as now they're only 1 stock up, and this is going to be really, really good for Syracuse, right? Even though you're at 158%, 1 more hit may send you off, you're in a very, very good spot because you've started to even up this score.
Oh my goodness, at 160% and still standing. Just goes to show how powerful the tanky ones, and that will be it for Syracuse.
Yeah, and I mean, you may have lost that, right? But you were able to take not only that King DDD out, right? But then you were able to take this Palantina down a stock. You're only down by 2 right now, right? You were able to take that 1 stock out from Palantina, and in Smash, that's not a crazy deficit, right? In these crew battles, especially as you start to approach these anchors. That's the term that I've thrown around a couple times now, right? That strong player that sometimes you throw in when you just need that saving grace, that Hail Mary to really start to bring the team back up. That strong player who doesn't crack under the pressure and stays strong the whole way through. That's when we start to see, right? Now we're in that 2 stock lead for Boise State. Syracuse almost there, right? Now you're getting prepared, right? Does Boise State, who do they send in now that, or sorry, not Boise State, Syracuse, who do you send in? You know that Palantina is there. So if we're Syracuse, right, do you go for another tankier type of character? Do you try to match that light, Izzy?
I think it's more of a mix. Probably a more all-around character. Maybe someone more like Luigi, who can take the hits, but also get close enough and have some range at the same time. So it's a balanced mix. Luigi is known for that like head dive attack, something like that. But that could probably counter her decently well, because if we send in another tank, we probably... I keep saying tank because I'm so used to League. If we send in another heavyweight or someone like that, chances are we won't have too many left.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, sending a character like Luigi, right, that is definitely a character that is, I mean, it's a term used all around in Smash, right, that 0 to 100 move, and that's because of how powerful they can be, right, that one tornado and you get sent off into the skies. Doesn't matter if you're light or if you are heavy, you kind of just get sent into Never Never Land. And if you're throwing in that Luigi, that's going to put you in at a very, very good spot, right? And I'm pretty sure that's what Syracuse is going to do here, right? The coach, Bart, right, thinking through what is the best play to go through here, and I believe that's what we may see.
Yes, definitely. Luigi, if not him, maybe someone like Captain Falcon, again, still keeping up the blitzing, but also being able to keep some distance to make sure that we don't lose more stocks than necessary.
Yeah, and, you know, I quickly mentioned here Bart, right, the coach of the Smash Brothers team, and, you know, it's been a common theme all week here. We've always given some love to coaches because here at Syracuse, right, this is really that first semester of this varsity type of competition, and coaches are involved, right?
Yes.
And coaches, that job of a coach, right, is really to think about the future of what you're going to do next, right? How do I get this team to operate and work together, and who do I put next? Who do I put in that next sort of driver's seat in Smash in this case, right, to take that solo battle? And that's really where, if you're Syracuse, where you start putting in those thoughts, right? Who do you put in now? Likely that Luigi, like you were predicting earlier, Izzy, and sort of just going in and taking that fight to just 0 to 100 this Palantina and really even this up, right? Try not to lose any stocks if possible. And look at that. Your prediction was correct. Luigi is coming in, Izzy.
I wonder if Luigi is considered the anchor of our team. I'm not quite sure.
Yep.
And
looks like this is going to be...
Looks
there
like
we go. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get into that fight there, but in the end, going to start here. Syracuse, right, you've seen a little bit of this Palantina gameplay, but obviously that was up against one of those heavier targets. Now that you're on this Luigi, taking a little bit of a change, taking a little bit of your different approach to figure out how you want to play this Luigi into this Palantina, but finding some value, finding some of these combos. You don't want to be 0 to 100 on this Luigi. That's one of the powerful things of this character if you are Boise State.
Yes, and Palantina is definitely not afraid to get too close because she can handle herself. She has a decent defense, but then again, very much lighter than Luigi's. Luigi has her up to 115% already, probably another few hits, and she's off the map. Luigi up to 73. Again, he's stronger with these attacks, so he's not taking as much damage as someone like Palantina would be from these attacks.
Exactly, yeah. And just for those of you curious who this Luigi is for the side of Syracuse, that is going to be Sarvi on the Luigi here. So those of you who are curious, right, no longer 8-0 on that King DDD. And just like that, a stock will be taken, bringing Boise State down to 7. Now, if you're Syracuse, right, if you can find this next stock and even up this series, you're going to be very, very happy with yourselves, right? Because now you went from like a 5-stock deficit, and now you're even 6-6. But even right now, you're probably pretty happy with this, right? Even if you lose one stock here, going to be able to find some good value. And staying alive will be this Luigi at 140%. One shot may send them off the map, but it looks like they're still staying alive here, is he?
He's still fighting, still. Oh, and that might be it. Luigi's down to 2 stocks, but if we can manage to get this Palantina off, we will be only down by 1 at that point. Boise State getting kind of close, actually. Luigi taking a few hits, but like we saw, he made it to about 140-something before he actually started getting really thrown far. So he's a pretty good mix, like we said, all around. Not too tanky, but again, not very lightweight. Palantina is really getting close.
Yeah, one thing I want to bring to attention is the way we're seeing this sort of side type of battle, right? The edge guard has come out from this Palantina, but if you can really bait this Palantina to fight the sort of off-the-map battle, then you're going to be in a good spot. But unfortunately, right, if you're Luigi, you're really banking on finding this value of getting your hits to connect so you can reset those forward jumps onto the stage. Was not able to find it and falls down another stock here. If you're BSU, right, you're feeling pretty confident. You're even going into this final stock here, but Syracuse, right, you're facing one player left if you can't get this Palantina off the table.
Yes, so Syracuse needs to really get this Palantina off of the map. She's up to 64, which again, she is a much lower armor, I guess you could say, kind of character. Luigi just got another hit in, but they're around the same percentage, 64, 66. If Luigi can get one good grab on her and a few hits, that should be enough to get her out. Palantina charging up attacks now. And Luigi is trying to stay somewhat far because he doesn't know what to expect from her. She's got a very good mix of ranged attacks and close-up attacks.
Yeah, this Palantina, the play style we're seeing from them is really just, once again, that adaptation that we're seeing from many of these players tonight is how do you adapt to your opponent in the middle of the game, right? That's one of the hardest things in a game like Smash is how do you adapt, right? How do you capitalize on some of the mistakes that your opponent is making? Syracuse still staying alive here, still looking for that final hit. Both of these characters very, very much in a risky situation. You don't want to be caught on that edge, though. You want to be able to find your way back in that middle so that you can find a nice little DI if you need to. And just like that, we are going to see just in time, Sarvi is going to find that nice final hit, and we'll send that Palantina off the map. One stock left for the side of Syracuse before putting themselves into that next player, but 2 stock lead still inside of Boise State, is it?
Yeah, well, at least Syracuse was able to get rid of that Palantina because she was actually more aggressive than most of those type of characters. Yeah. Luigi, I don't think was the anchor of the team. I'm not quite sure.
I don't believe so, no.
But he did do a good job of getting her towards the edge. I think a lot of that fight was just fighting for who gets the edge and who actually stays within the bounds.
Yeah, and now we can come back to this conversation, right, of Boise, now it's your turn to throw someone in. You know that you're going to be going up against a Luigi for at least 1 stock, right? Ideally, if you're Boise, you try and just get rid of that since Syracuse last their final anchor. But if you're Syracuse, you're looking to try to even some things out, right? If you can, this is where you can take the lead, right? You're no longer a player behind. You're no longer 4 stocks behind. You have the ability to fully even this score up, take out all of these 3 stocks on the side of Boise State. We know it's possible. We saw it happen in the first round of this game, Izzy. So we know it's possible. This Luigi can do it, but if you're Boise State, right, do you throw in your Joker now, or do you throw in this Olimar?
It's a great question. Honestly, it's going to be hard to tell because Boise State has yet to throw in their anchor, and while Luigi is strong, he only has 1 stock left. So are they going to waste it, or are they going to keep it in their pocket as a secret weapon?
Yeah, and that really is the thing, right? These anchors, kind of like that secret weapon, right? Obviously, the Joker for the side of Boise State, likely their anchor, right? Just such a powerful character with such a powerful kit as well, right? There's just so much you can do on Joker. You can be tanky, you can throw in some very, very powerful hits, and you can just stay alive for a very long time as well with some really good recovery moves. But on the side of Syracuse, right, you still have that anchor who is your final player left, right? You only have that 1 player to really come in and take some of these fights, and it's a matter now of to even the series up, right? Bring this back into your favor. You've brought it a couple times here, but against this Luigi, there's a potential we even see a little bit of a change-up from Boise State, right? Maybe seeing a heavier type of character who can really withstand this Luigi style and then go in and take these fights.
Yes, again, it depends on the fighting style of Luigi because he is so flexible. He could be someone who is more tanky, not quite tanky, but more heavy. Or he could be someone who is more powerful with just straight-up attacks, a little bit of range, or up close. And Olimar...
Olimar coming in, so, kind of like what we were thinking, right? Not wanting to throw out that anchor quite yet. Pretty common, right? You don't normally throw out your anchor until they're your anchor, right? That's why they're called your anchor, right? Your 4th player. Obviously, for Syracuse, right, that anchor is the Yoshi player, right? That is going to be likely, if I'm correct, GR Bean, who is that final player on the Yoshi. That's going to be who is potentially coming up next after this Luigi here. For the side of Boise State, though, the Olimar, right? A player that we originally thought was going to play earlier, Supersonic, now in this game. And one of the biggest things is you have so much range potential on Olimar.
Yes, definitely. And again, he's actually not too bad on defense. He is not the strongest. Again, Luigi definitely could take a few more hits at him, but I think that he can handle a few more hits than Palantina. Again, though, he has the range advantage, so Luigi's going to have to be careful with how he plays.
Yeah, and if you're Syracuse, you just want to take these 2 stocks. You want to try to even this up as much as you can, because at the end of the day, right, that anchor is going to be the one that is going to have to take the remainder of these stocks, right? If you can make it down to 3 or 4, that's great, right? But you don't want to have your anchor in a spot where they have to take 6 stocks away. But this Olimar from Boise State is just doing a very, very good job of just keeping this Luigi at bay, keeping them far enough so that some of these head hits can't come in, like you were mentioning earlier.
Yes, definitely. He is kind of aggressive, but at the same time, Luigi is trying to get in those grabs, trying to get him close enough to do those attacks that do more damage to him. Because, like we said before, Olimar is a light one, and as we just saw, he reached about 120 or so. I don't quite remember, but he reached about there before getting knocked off.
Yeah, and that was very well played from the side of Syracuse, right? That's what you're looking for. Oh, wait, this could be it. The 0 to 100. What a shot coming out from Syracuse. There it is, and that's exactly what you want to see, right? Evening up the score here. Though Boise State may be able to take out this Luigi, it is okay, right? Because now you are in a very even spot, and this is where your anchor is possible, right? They can take in the fight, but Syracuse still alive, still kicking. 161 right now, just trying to stay alive. A little weird interaction there, but a lot of edge guarding is going to come out here. Izzy, 11%, but there it's going to be. Syracuse will be sent out. But if you are Syracuse, you are not upset about that round.
No.
A beautiful 0 to 100. Clip it and ship it, and then an amazing stock take. Your anchor can come in now and take this fight.
Yes, definitely. That was a big move on Syracuse's part. Got 2 stocks down. The Olimar did a good job keeping it range, but Luigi was just able to get him in, get him up, and just off.
Yeah, and that's what it is, right? If you're Boise State there, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, let's cool down a little bit. You had a great lead. Multiple times Boise State has had a really good lead, 2-3 stock lead. And now you're facing 1 stock lead. You're going up against the anchor. You're going up against the Yoshi for Syracuse University, right? So Now there's some thoughts coming in, right? If you're Syracuse, you're aiming to take this 1 stock out from Olimar, right? A Yoshi and an Olimar, both these characters long range, and I'll let you talk on that in a second, Izzy, right? But then we get to talk about, right, going to that next character, right? Yoshi going up against that Joker, where things can get a little dicey, if you ask me. But before we get to that, tell me, this Olimar-Yoshi matchup, what should we be expecting?
Well, it's tough to say because, again, both have range, but I personally think that Yoshi has just a little bit more of an advantage when it comes to taking the hits. Dishing them out, I think Olimar might have a bit more of an advantage. So it's going to be a little tough because both are more on the range side. But Yoshi is able to, if Yoshi is able to get up close and use his kick attacks or something like that, it could potentially end it quicker.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things with Olimar is that entire kit is based around those Pikmin, right? So with Yoshi, if you can just spam those eggs, prevent those Pikmin from being picked up, no pun intended there, you have the ability to just prevent all of Olimar's attacks, right? Just forcing in that melee, which Yoshi can then take advantage of, use that egg roll, use those down Bs to really put Olimar in a bad situation. But that is where they thrive, right? Having the ability to pick those Pikmin out of the ground, forcing that sort of constant tiny damage, tiny percentage increase. And if you're Syracuse, you're running this Yoshi, you cannot have that happen.
Yes, exactly like we were saying before. There's better all-around characters and better range characters, and Yoshi is definitely more all-around than Olimar is. And we see Olimar taking out his stocks right now, and they are ready to go.
Yep. Nice little taunts will start the game, and here it goes. Syracuse's anchor. This is going to be GR Bean going up against the Olimar Supersonic for Boise State University here. A 4-3. You're aiming to take out 1 stock here, right? If you are this Yoshi, that is your only goal right now. Get rid of this stock. But if you're Boise State, your goal is also get rid of 1, right? Make this as easy for your anchor as possible. But Yoshi, a very powerful character if you can just get up in the face of the opponent. And what we're seeing right now is that, right? These Pikmin not finding the value. And just like that, we're going to see Syracuse even up this series 3-3. Izzy, we got an anchor-on-anchor battle.
This is going to be very interesting to see. That Yoshi playstyle is super aggressive, which is going to be interesting to see against Joker, who is also known for being aggressive. Both of these characters are good for all around. Yoshi, and actually, I think that Joker might be able to take more hits. It's hard to tell because, again, they're both so all around.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The one player we haven't seen yet from Boise State is going to be Gokis, right? That player who we might see a Joker. I was also told we might see a Roy come out from the side of Boise State. And, you know, that is where things get interesting, right? Because now if you're Syracuse, who do you expect, right? Joker and Roy, they both have very, very, I don't want to say similar because I'm going to get yelled at if I say that, but they both have very similar in terms of ranged attacks, right? And the ability to take melee if they need to. So if you're Boise, right, do you put it on a character that you just sort of play better? Or is there a better situation, Roy or Joker here?
Yeah, it's tough to tell. I do think that Roy is strong, a bit stronger up close compared to Joker. Again, Joker's just strong all around. Roy, however, if he's able to get close enough to Yoshi, could easily do some of his slam sword attacks to get Yoshi up in the air, slam down, and high up in the percentage. And again, with that 0 to 100 thing, we have to be careful. So depending on which one they choose, is going to affect the Yoshi playstyle probably.
Yeah, and that's it, right? Now that we're in this 3-on-3 stock, this final sort of battle in game number 1 here is adaptation, right? I've said it a few times. I probably sound like a broken record, but it really does come down to that, right? When you go back and forth on these two players, on these two characters, you need to make adaptations. You need to make changes depending on how your opponent is playing. So, you know, the Yoshi we just saw just went in face first, right? Boise State, you know that, right? So if you're Syracuse, do you just sort of go in and try that first, or do you already make the changes?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the beginning we're going to see both of them trying to get a gauge for how each other's play style is, and I think throughout the match it's going to also adapt based on Joker's more range style or his more close-up style, or again, if it's Roy, the close-up sword style, the slams, because you have to be super careful with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you really do, right, with some of these fights here. And, you know, as we see what we're going up against, the Pyra Minthra, a very staple character here in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. What makes them so powerful, the crazy damage, crazy percentage that Minthra is able to put out, but Pyra, that tanky, fire-wielding individual, right, who is able to put so much pressure in. But Syracuse's Yoshi is just putting in the work right now.
Yes, an aggressive Yoshi is a dangerous Yoshi, and we could see that here just constantly. 0 to 100, the headbutts, the kicks, the ranged.
Seeing some great percentage come out. That's the first time we've seen any sort of percentage taken down on to the side of the Yoshi here. And Boise State is struggling, right? You want to switch that Pyra, but the Yoshi knows that, right? You can't switch down to Pyra if you're just constantly in the air. A stock already taken for Syracuse. Boise State needs to make some adaptations, but if you're Syracuse, you don't want to give them that time. You want to keep putting the pressure in, and we're seeing that right now, just going in, putting in that pressure, trying to get those tail whips, and just making it very difficult for Boise State to really catch their grip.
Yes, definitely. Yoshi is trying to keep them on the defense, constantly not able to get in a strong attack. And we can see that Yoshi is able to take some of these hits. He's only at 78, considering the amount of attacks that he's taken. Not too bad.
Yeah, but this is where things get scary, right? We're just seeing Boise State able to switch over to that Pyra, a slower but heavier hitting character of the Pyra and the Minthra, and this is where things can get very, very scary for the Yoshi for the side of Syracuse, is if you take these hits, you're going to take so much pressure. Switching over this Minthra, going to be able to put just a lot of pressure in. You want to maybe switch over to that Pyra. There it is, and just like that, not going to find the KO, but will find a good percentage. There's the KO. That is what you want to see on these Pyra Minthras, right? You want to see putting in that pressure, putting in that percentage on that Minthra, and then switching when you have a chance for that cooldown to come in, go down to Pyra, and then send your opponent off the map. 2-2, but we are going to see that Syracuse is just putting in great pressure on this Pyra Minthra.
Yes, definitely. They're trying to get off that one last stock so that we can hopefully have a 2-stock advantage over them. See them fighting for the edge once again. Syracuse up in the air, and it looks like they're trying to keep things farther from each other, but not giving Yoshi a chance to breathe and use his ranged attacks, and a headbutt, and another stock from Boise.
Boise State down to their final stock here. The first time Boise State has been at the disadvantage on that back burner in this series. Syracuse University has the ability to take this now. They just have to be able to take these final stocks. Boise State on that back burner needs to make some changes, need to see some adaptations, right? And is finding them right now. This Yoshi, a good parry is going to come in, but there's the combos, right? It's all about these combos going back and forth and putting that percentage up high. This Pyra staying alive, trying to dodge the attacks coming out from the Yoshi here and is doing a very good job until then, right? Not being able to dodge that in time. A good parry is going to come in. One more hit from Pyra will likely send this Yoshi off the side of the map.
Yes, and again, Pyra, both Pyra and Yoshi getting up close. Yoshi got just grabbed. Pyra also trying to take advantage of the grabs, getting Yoshi close and able to use one of her strong attacks. Yoshi getting up close to 145% and still in.
Yeah, and this is it, right? 99, it's 1-1, but Boise State, you are at an incredible disadvantage with your percentage. A great hit right off the spawn is going to come in from Syracuse's Yoshi, right? Just a couple more combos, and you send Boise State into the stratosphere, and you take game number 1 in this series, putting Syracuse up on that map for that victory against this Boise State University. And there it is, and she is going to splat on the top of the screen, and just like that, Syracuse University won up to Boise State, Izzy.
I mean, after a week of all these losses, I think we really needed this. I mean, no offense to Overwatch or anything else, but this is definitely needed. This was definitely a big confidence boost, and I think that comeback was super awesome. We started off a little iffy at the beginning, but by the end, we were able to bounce it out and super close. One stock, but ultimately Syracuse was able to take the win.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, right, is a lot of us expect, including the coach for Smash, that you would see that King DDD as the anchor for Boise State, right? But instead, the first one that came out, and you have to think, right, is that what put you at the disadvantage, right? You were able to take a lot of stocks, but Syracuse, they played smart, right? They started putting their players in and putting them down based off of, all right, who can take the most hits? Who has sort of, in a sense, the best mechanics, right? That tends to be who your anchor is, right? And they were able to do that, right? Going up against that Pyramithra. Put up a good fight, I might add, right? 1-1 stock. It is not an easy series, right? Boise State was up, Syracuse was up. And in the end, Syracuse takes that victory, but still a best of 3. You still got one more to go. Boise State is not out of this one yet, and Syracuse has not quite taken up that victory yet either.
Yes, that is true. It was very satisfying to finally see at least one sort of win on the board for us this week, which is nice. I think that Luigi move at the where we were able to get 0 to 100 2 in a row was huge for Syracuse and a huge reason why we were able to make that comeback and eventually win this round.
Yeah, and that is it. And, now that this first match is over, I believe I won't be cut off by the rosters coming in. So I'll go ahead and I'll give a quick little rundown of the Power Esports Conference. For those of you who are curious, from about 20 minutes ago when I teased it, what is the Power Esports Conference, right? The PEC for short, or the PEC, if you will, right? That Power Esports Conference, it is a lot of these Power 5 schools coming together to create this Division 1 esports league is really what it comes down to, right? Collegiate esports is on the fast growth, on that fast grind, as a lot of gamers say nowadays. And, with that, you want to create a league that matches that competition, that matches that play style of a lot of these D1 players. And that is what the Power Esports Conference is, having a lot of named schools, Boise State and Syracuse, obviously, but others like the Ohio State University, Oklahoma as well, Kansas, right? A lot of these very big state schools, D1 institutions, sending in these athletes to really take these battles and go into esports and really bring it to a new level in terms of scholastic, right? And that is what makes the Power Esports Conference so incredibly powerful, no pun intended, seriously this time, right? It really is just about bringing that power, bringing that gameplay to that next level.
Yes, definitely. And to be part of something that's so new and really building up, like you said, becoming powerful, again, no pun, becoming something more well-known is huge for Syracuse, for Boise State, for all these other schools, and it's super exciting to see.
Yeah, it is indeed. But now that you've gotten a little bit of info on the PEC, and Syracuse is one away from taking this series, they're going to go ahead, they're going to catch a little bit of a break. So don't go anywhere. Grab some water, grab some popcorn. We'll be right back with some more action. And we are back, folks. Hopefully you got some water. Hopefully you had some time to make some popcorn as well. We got game number 2 on the lock and ready to clock it. We got 12 more stocks on both sides of these teams. We got a Yoshi, and we've got, it looks like, an Olimar coming out. So this time, a little bit of a change up here, Izzy, right? We are going to see GR Bean come out first, going up against Supersonic, right? This is sort of what we were predicting going into these matchups, sort of sending these players out first, and then going from there. But going into this match right away, Syracuse up 1 game. Remember, folks, best of 3, so 1 more, and Syracuse will bring home this trophy, bring home the win, and will put Syracuse on the board against Boise State University.
Yes, and as we see again, Yoshi is just constantly aggressive, pushing Olimar to the point where he can't use any of his attacks because, like you said, those little guys, I'm blanking on the name right now, but those little guys are the key to all of his attacks, and if he's constantly being hit, there's no way for him to get a solid hit in on Yoshi.
Yeah, exactly right. And we're seeing some good value coming out from the side of Syracuse, but now Boise State finding that adaptation, going back into this and just sort of sending in a lot of these hits. And just like that, we are going to see it start to even back up. The Pikmin being picked up, ready to go. But a nice egg will send Boise back a little bit, looking for those combos, but can't quite find the finishing value. And just like that, Syracuse will find the first stock of this series. They're not out of this one yet, is he?
Not quite. And as we see, Yoshi is already up to 123%. But like we said before, he is kind of more balanced, so he can take 1 or 2 more hits before being in the danger zone. We already see that Olimar's up to 68%, 84, these big hits, and just like that, 1 stock left for Boise State.
Yeah, Boise State struggling in this first round here, looking a little bit like Syracuse last match, as Syracuse is now 3 stocks to Boise State's 1 remainder. A nice double tap will come in from the side of Syracuse, and it's just going to look to send them off the map. A good recovery comes in from the side of Olimar, though. Boise State staying alive, but is able to find that hit eventually. Only a matter of time, right? You've got to keep dodging at 160%.
Yes, definitely. And if Yoshi is able to get this one off the map, we still have 2 stocks left, which is very crucial for the next upcoming matches. And we see, again, Yoshi does not want Olimar to get a single hit in. Yoshi's just constantly, and there it is. This round goes to Syracuse.
Yeah, a really well played coming out from Syracuse. Now going to be the ones in this lead here, putting this Yoshi out first. GR Bean coming out first in this matchup. Warmed up after that last one on the anchor, coming into this match now, ready to go. And, you know, if you're Boise State, right, you got a strong team, but this Yoshi is just putting in the work. Who do you put in next from what we saw last round?
I mean, you see the Yoshi, he just mows right through with those little kicks, those little legs. It's very, you know, risky because you don't want to send out your anchor this early, of course, because what are you left with then? But at the same time, you don't want to send out someone too weak because then you could easily lose 3 stocks to that Yoshi because like we saw, he still has 2 left. He only lost 1 in this battle. If he can get through another battle and only lose 1, then Syracuse will be at a huge advantage.
Yeah, exactly, right? It is just a matter of that Yoshi putting in that sort of flutter kick of damage onto their opponent there. So going into this next match, right, you're going to see this Yoshi come back again, and now Boise State, they know that Yoshi is going to come out, right? So looks like they're going to be sending in potentially the King DDD, right? Going back in for this 9th best player in Idaho once again, and we're gonna see what they can do, right? The taunt sends the match off to start. For those of you curious, once again, this is going to be Leia Dog coming out, the member that we thought was gonna be the anchor going into this matchup. And if you're Syracuse, if you could send King DDD down even 1 stock here, you're going to be in a very comfortable position.
Yes, definitely. And in this kind of situation, Yoshi should be taking advantage of his stronger range than DDD, but also being able to get through those openings and be able to get those little kicks in, because although DDD is someone super strong and heavyweight, Yoshi can still shred through because, like we said, he's super strong with the damage. So if he could get a lot of strong hits and super fast, we already see that damage going right up. Again, this isn't too much for DDD to handle, but if Yoshi could continue this non-stop relentless attack, then DDD will be off in no time.
Yeah, really, I mean, putting in the work right now, if you are a heavy, right, you're still comfortable, right? Now, if you are Syracuse, though, at that 85%, you're a little bit more worrisome, right? Because if you are going to get hit, you are going to get sent off the match, but a really good parry into that ball will send it back over to Syracuse's side. But right? Both these players looking a little bit of a risky, right? One combo from either end will likely send them off the map. If you are Boise State's King DDD, you're trying to find the value, and there it is. But for the side of Syracuse, we'll be able to find one stock off of Boise State's King DDD. This player struggling to find the value, but still alive will be Syracuse, still kicking for just a little bit longer.
And there goes there goes one more stock, but that was impressive at almost 184%. Still standing against King DDD. And like we were saying before, really utilizing the quick, close attacks, not giving him a chance to hit at all, and already up at 89%. Again, his attacks aren't just fast, they're strong, and it's dangerous to get too close to Yoshi, even as someone who is super strong and heavy like DDD.
Yeah, I mean, Boise State is just struggling to find the value on this Yoshi here, but these tail whips just going back and forth and finding so much value, already putting the King DDD in a very rough position here, taking 2 more stocks. Syracuse looking strong and looking comfortable. 10 stocks to Boise State 7 now. If Syracuse can find one more here, you're going to be very comfortable. Because remember, right, not to bring up sort of a scar here, but this player is the one that was able to take out 5 stocks of Syracuse without losing really any of theirs, right? So you do want to be careful. If you can find the value to take them out now, you're going to be not only 2 players up, but you're going to be very confident going into the last 2.
Yes, and we see here Yoshi is super mobile, and we see that is being taken advantage of a lot this game, going up, down, keeping him in the air and not able to do his range attacks. And just like that, Syracuse wins another round with a stock remaining.
Wow, just like that, the Yoshi from the side of Syracuse finds that another combo, and they are going to send them off the map. That's going to be 2 players gone from Boise State now. Syracuse still 1 stock remaining for that final player for that Yoshi. That is going to be GR, being a senior for Syracuse University here, has been playing for a while, but has the skills and has the mechanics to prove they're not out of this match yet.
Yes, and super impressive. 1 stock basically per round. If we are able to even get 1 stock off of someone from the next round, Syracuse is in an even more comfortable position. But even now, we are so ahead, and hopefully they're able to maintain that lead even after Yoshi's final stock is gone.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, you've put so much work in. You've really put Boise State on the back burner, right? Now, here's the thing though, right? Boise State, they did the exact same thing to Syracuse last map, right? Once they got rid of that really powerful player, in this case Syracuse's Yoshi, they started to bring it back, and they were able to bring it back at the end there, but Syracuse came out on top, right? For this map, right, what happens when this Yoshi is gone, right? When you go up against these next 2 players from the side of Boise State, how do you react? How do you go about it? And if you are Boise State, who do you throw out now? Do you throw out the Joker?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because, again, and the Palantina is back. She is known for being somewhat aggressive, but she does not have the strongest defense. So if Yoshi is able to get close, get those kicks in, get those little spinny movements in, then Palantina could potentially lose 1, maybe 2 stocks. Then again, maybe that's wishful thinking, but let's see.
Yep. Taunts will signify the start of the round here, and this Palantina going to look for some value immediately, and will find it. It won't be the Yoshi finding that first combo, and Boise State's Palantina finding a very, very good combo there just to start it off for the side of Boise State. Now, right, if you're Boise State, your only goal, don't lose a stock, right? That is your only goal right now. You are already at a 4-stock deficit. You cannot afford to lose another one, right? Take out this Yoshi at any means necessary.
Yeah, and we see that, not even giving Yoshi a chance to breathe, touch the ground, anything. The constant barrage of these I don't know what to call them, constantly little hits, attacks. I don't know what to call them.
Yeah, these
like
little
a firework.
little fireworks coming out from Palantina there, doing some great work. Yes, but I mean, right? Like if you're Palantina, right, you're almost there, right? All you have to do is do a little bit more of that percentage, and you will send this Yoshi away. But if we can see GR Bean find a good combo, it will send them off, but not quite going to be able to find it. Boise State not going to lose a stock. Will send the Yoshi out, right? 3 stocks, 1 player still at a disadvantage for the side of Boise State. And if you're this Palantina, right, you know there's a very likely chance that you're going to be going up against a Mario or a Donkey Kong next.
Yes, probably. And like we were seeing before, the Palutena is super aggressive from a distance. So we have to be super careful with how we're able to approach her, but not lose too much damage. Because, again, the Palutena is super strong from a distance, but if you're able to close that gap, which we saw Yoshi struggled with, like you were saying before, how they adapt. They eventually figured out Yoshi's playstyle and used Palutena to their advantage to use those distance attacks to keep Yoshi away.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So, you know, to keep that member away, that is what you're aiming to do here. And if you're the Palutena, right? If you're Syracuse, right, you want to get up in your opponent's face, right? The Yoshi did a great job at that, right? So who do you send in next? You likely will send in one of those heavier types of characters, right? The King DDD, the Donkey Kong is also potential here, right? We could see a curveball, right? You could see that Luigi coming in, but like you were mentioning earlier, right? You just don't want to take that far range battle. That's what Palutena wants. And if you give that to her, she may get the jump on you and actually even this score back up.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it would be a wise choice to send in someone like Donkey Kong, like you mentioned before, someone who can get up close, take the hits, but be able to grab her, do some sort of spin attack like how Donkey Kong can do that,
absolutely.
And be able to get her in the air and not able to use those ranged attacks.
Yeah, if you can find the ability to get those spin attacks and get that power move, in a sense, onto the Palutena, you're going to be able to send them away, right? And that's another thing, right? If you're going up against this Palutena, you know, they're light. Right, so if you just get a little bit of percentage on them, once you get to that 100 and 120 threshold, they're going to be sent off the map pretty easily. But we are going to get a little bit of a curveball coming out here from the side of Syracuse. Izzy, tell me your thoughts on this.
I mean, I think it is very interesting. And Incineroar, again, this guy is known for being heavy. I mean, he is literally built like a heavyweight wrestler. He has the whole wrestler vibe to him. He has the spins. And you see he's using that to his advantage, like we were saying before, getting up close, trying to not let those range attacks hit him. And we see that here, using the shield, trying to not have the edge blocking going on. And
yeah, right. You just want to get in, right? Take that boxing battle if you are the side of Syracuse, looking for the most amount of battle. But this Palutena, that is perfectly okay with her, right? Boise State's Palutena has no problem taking that fight, and that is going to be Dr. Shmongus, just to remind everyone who that is, right? Going in and just really putting in the pressure, right? Saying, all right, fine. If you want to take the close battle, let's take the close battle. And, I mean, Boise State's Palutena is doing a phenomenal job. A twinkle star goes away, and Syracuse is down a stock here. Boise State looking to just even this one back up.
Yes, and we see Syracuse really trying to get up close and not allow any attacks to get in, because Palutena is getting comfortable on both ends, both the more defensive and offensive positions, more ranged and closer up. And we have to be super careful considering both of that, because Incineroar is already up to 50, while Palutena still has her 3 stocks and is only at 70.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you were talking about earlier, right? If you can keep it range, Palutena is going to be very happy. And that's what we're seeing from Boise State, right? Forcing this range away from this Incineroar. And it's making Syracuse in a little bit of an uncomfortable position, right? Because the only time we're seeing this Palutena go in is when she wants to go in, right? She's controlling the tempo of this fight, and it's putting Syracuse a little bit on the back burner here. But a good little hit will come in, will begin to take it back. But the Palutena, a little bit percentage goes up, not too worried, right? Incineroar has a little bit more of an ability to take a little bit more percentage here, but you're still getting to risky territory once you hit 115, 120.
Yes, definitely. He is known for being more of a heavy champion, but at the same time, he's definitely not on the level of King DDD or someone like Donkey Kong. He's known more for his strong attacks combined with his good sustainability. We see Palutena at 100 now. If we're able to get maybe 1 to 2 more hits, a strong one in, we could send her off the map and get 1 stock off of her. Now 117, hopefully 1 or 2 more hits could do it to her. Again, ooh, rough hit. Right to the back, off board.
Yeah, and some good combos are going to come in from the side of Boise State. A nice 1, 2, 3, and 4. Syracuse still alive, though, right? That's the thing with these very light characters. Is very rarely you're going to see 0 to 100s. Very few characters in the games can do that. Luigi, we saw earlier, a very good clip, like I said. But Syracuse, right, putting up so much percentage already, making it 100. Both these characters at very risky territory here for a KO, especially for the side of Boise State. One more will send them. You do not want to make this an even match if you're Syracuse, but it's so close. Palantina can play this range and go in. Still alive, just barely going to stay in this
now the goal is
arena.
just to guard the edge, and if he's able to do that, we can at least get one stock off and maintain at least somewhat of a lead.
Syracuse looking for it, and we'll send him off. Not too crazy. Wait. Oh, okay. I didn't see the end there, but still standing, and Syracuse finds one, right? So Boise State not going to quite even this one up, but still can take this out, right? If you're Syracuse, you had an incredible lead, but now starting to slip away.
Yeah, and again, we see it, the 0 to 100 stuff. I mean, and there's the finisher, but we were able to get one stock off of the Palantina, which was good. Syracuse, I think, is now more balanced, which unfortunately that lead was strong, but again, we saw a similar thing with Boise State using a stronger character towards the beginning. Thankfully, we still have another tanky one and another, I believe, Luigi or someone like that who is strong and hopefully could finally get this Palantina out of the way.
Yeah, right. You know, with this Palantina, very, very good player coming out from the side of Boise State. Still alive, still kicking. Dr. Schmungus over there, right? Finding the value that they can. But if you're Syracuse, you had an incredible lead. It's just a mirror of what happened last map, right? Boise had an incredible lead, brings it down, one stock advantage for him now, right? Palantina, right? That player left, Syracuse one stock advantage. You don't want to let this Palantina take control, because if you do, then you're on the back burner if you're Syracuse, and it really does look like last map. And do you have that anchor battle again?
Yeah, so Syracuse has to be super careful because, again, Boise State still has their anchor waiting. And while Syracuse did use Yoshi, I think there is some sort of anchor waiting.
Yes, King DD is definitely
yes.
waiting.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
So we still have King DDD, and we still have, hopefully, someone strong, like we were saying before, Luigi, who could just get this Palantina out of the way, who is so aggressive, so ranged, but still able to take some hits.
Yeah, and you know, if you're Boise State, you know that you're likely going to be going up against this heavier, excuse me, heavier King DDD, or you're going up against this Luigi, right? Those are who you're going up against. So if you're the Palantina here, who would you rather go up against here, Izzy?
Both are tough because King DDD does have some range, a bit of range to him. And then Luigi himself is good at getting up close with that head dive, and he does have a little bit of range with his fireball and stuff. But if I were Palantina, I would actually probably rather be playing Luigi, which is, you know, a little controversial. I'm sure it depends on the play style. I think this Palantina is very good at adapting. We saw how she swapped her play style up versus the Incineroar versus how she was with the Yoshi. So depending on who she plays, it's going to be interesting to see how she changes up her play style and if she's able to keep up with either of them.
Yeah, I totally agree, right? You know, that Palantina, it's really about that adaptation. If you're going up against a heavy, you're likely playing one style the whole way through, right? But with Luigi, you have a little bit more flexibility, which means you might put Palantina more on her toes here. And it looks like you're right once again here, Izzy. We are going to see the Luigi coming out from Syracuse here. One stock lead if you are Syracuse, right? Boise State looking to try and not only even this back up, but put themselves in the lead here, right? Both these players, that third player for the side of Syracuse and Boise State. So it really is anyone's game right now.
Yes, and like I was saying before, Luigi or anyone's goal is to get close and not let her use those attacks that are consistent and very damaging if you let them hit for too long. So Palantina is already up to 89. Luigi has to be super careful not to go 0 to 100 like we saw before with Palantina, and he's off the map. Tough start for Syracuse, but again, we still have some of the life advantage. You see that Boise State is at 108 versus our 16%. If Luigi could take advantage of that, then this round could still be ours.
Yeah, right. You know, if you're Boise State, right, you're even here, but you're also probably about one hit away. And yeah, one hit away. There you go. Sent off the map, and Syracuse still at that one stock lead. But this Palantina, we already saw a little bit of some signs of life of this adaptation, finding the value against this Luigi, and you have to be able, if you're Syracuse, now it's your turn to adapt. And oh!
Wow, what a hit straight to the head, and Luigi sent flying off. If Luigi is able to just bridge this gap, get super close, and just get those attacks away from him, then he will be able to get this Palutena off the map and out of the way. We see it now, 61%. Again, the 0 to 100 attacks are so crucial here, because if this Palutena gets the advantage like we see right now, it's over.
Yeah, and just like that, that Palutena from the side of Boise State, right? We saw a couple attempts of those 0 to 100s coming out from Luigi, just not able to connect them like they did in the past. It's very hard to connect, right? We may have saw one today, but they are very, very difficult to connect against some of these players. So we did see it a couple times, but not quite able to connect on this Palutena. And if you're Boise State here, right, you're now one stock up. You're going in against the anchor for Syracuse University, going up against the King DDD here, Izzy. You know, there's very little ways to play the heavy play style. So, Izzy, what do you think we're going to see here?
I don't know. Again, Palutena still has one stock left, so it's going to be interesting to see how she plays against a tankier guy who does have one ranged attack, but usually needs to get closer to get those big hits in. And Palutena is probably going to try her best to take advantage of the fact that he doesn't have much range and just try to push him towards the edge and get as much damage as fast as possible, because, like we were saying before, he might be able to take hits, but once he gets a lot of hits super fast, it's hard for him to keep up, and it's hard for him to stay alive.
Yeah, and that is the scary thing, right? This Palutena, once they're able to adapt, we've seen it 3 times now, they get those combos in, they put that percentage up, and though Palutena may only be able to live to 100, 120% before being knocked out, King DDD, you know, around 150 to 170, it's not going to matter if those combos come in and you just go 1, 2, 3, and 3 combos, you're already going to be up at a really risky spot. So, you know, when you go into this fight, especially when considering this Palutena is okay with taking range.
Yes, definitely. And aside from that, she's also pretty comfortable getting up close. She's okay with pulling you in and then hitting you out away from her and then using those range attacks to her advantage so you can't land, you can't do any attacks, and you're just taking constant damage.
Yeah, exactly. So going into this, right, if you're Syracuse, you're on your last 3 stocks here, you're going to just... You're trying to not lose any here, right? That is your goal for this one round. Don't worry about the next one right now. Don't worry about who might be going out, whether it's a Joker, a Pyraminther, or a Roy. Don't worry about that right now. Your only worry is just getting rid of this Palutena. This player that has just been completely walking through this Syracuse roster. Take them out and don't lose a stock in the process, right? As seen, Syracuse going to run this King DDD here. And for those of you curious, that is going to be Ado, going to be a junior for the Syracuse roster, still going up against this Palutena. Dr. Shumungus, a senior for Boise State here. 1 stock advantage for Boise State, but 1 game lead for Syracuse.
And they're off, both starting with ranged attacks. Palutena, again, trying to keep it more ranged, but we know that she's comfortable getting close. So we have to be careful either way. You see right there, again, she's trying to get close, trying to use both her advantage, get a feel for his playstyle. And right there, we see, again, DDD is trying to get close, but it's just so hard with Palutena's more ranged attacks.
Yeah, and we're seeing some attempts coming out from the side of Syracuse, but every time they charge up with this spike, you're just not seeing the value coming in because Boise State, that range just goes faster for them, right? So they use it and they take advantage. Already 102% coming out from the side of Syracuse. Like I said, your only goal, take out this Palutena and don't lose your own stock. But if you're Syracuse here, you're in a risky spot. You need to adapt. You need to figure out how you want to play. And the passive play style we just saw coming out from Syracuse may be the way to play it, right? Force this Palutena to come after you.
Yes, definitely. We saw a lot of parrying going on rather than blocking, and I think that might be working better considering... Oh, wow. What a hit. DDD is still kicking, barely, but at 150, he could probably take 1 to 2 more hits. If he's able to get Palutena close enough, he could hopefully get some strong hits in. But again, she is just dominating both far and close range. And just like that, she takes another stock from Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, this Palutena is just putting in the work for the side of Boise State. 66% here. You're kind of comfortable, honestly, if you're here, right?
Yes.
You've already taken a stock out, right, for your anchor. You have some percentage to potentially take out 1 more stock for Syracuse. If you're Syracuse, though, right, you're 2 stocks in, which means at minimum, you're going in at a 1 stock disadvantage going into this next round. And that puts you in a really scary spot, right? Because you know that Boise has the ability to pick their next opponent. And right now, you just need to get this Palutena off the stadium.
Yes, and again, we're seeing more of the pairing with Syracuse, which is great, and probably the best way to be countering her at this point because she has adapted to the point where she knows when that shield is going to go down and when she could just drill you with that attack. And we see, again, she's starting to adapt and trying to push even without the shield. And the ranged attacks, again, DDD can't get close enough to get a strong hit in. At 120, she just needs 1 or 2 more hits and she's off the map.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we've been saying kind of already is Palantina, Dr. Schmungus as a whole, their adapting mid-game is just so incredibly well played, right? I mean, they were sort of struggling a little bit. That's what sent them up 40, 50%, but now they're adapting again, and now they're starting to take the foot on top of Syracuse, just doing a really, really good job taking this fight. The Wings will send another stock away for Syracuse. 1 left for them. We will see a good hit comes in, but Boise State, you're in a very comfortable spot even if you lose your Palantina here, because now your anchor needs to take 1 stock and you get choice advantage, right? We are going to see that stock is taken down, but not before losing 2 of your own. Boise State, you get to pick now, right? If you're Boise State, do you put the Joker in, the Roy, or do we see that Pyramithra, Izzy?
It's hard to say. I mean, DDD, like we saw, he's tanky, but he's not super mobile, especially compared to someone like Palantina, someone more like the Joker. Any of those options that you mentioned are definitely more mobile, more just able to get around quicker than DDD. So it's really unclear who they're going to end up picking, but again, DDD is only down to 1 stock, so whoever they pick, they're probably going to play very aggressive, just try to get him off the board and get that win.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you have at the advantage here if you're Boise State. Really, you have 2 stocks to play around with, right? If you want to play even a very light character, let's say Pyra, for instance, right? Pyramithra, you go in for the Mithra, and all you do is you just combo. If you lose a stock, okay. If you lose a second one, all right, you're a little playing with fire here, right? But you can lose that first stock, and your entire goal, get the King DDD up to a point where you're comfortable, right? Put them in that final percentage area where if you're playing Mithra or you're playing Pyra or Joker or whoever you want to play, right? Let's say a lighter type of character, you're like, all right, cool. I got to do 50% to you. You still have to do 100 to me, right? It puts you at a little bit of a scarier position. And if you're Syracuse, you have to know that, right? And you have to go into this match mentally reset.
Yes, and while DDD can take a lot of hits, sometimes equal to 2 of the lighter characters, it's so hard to be able to take a few amount of hits at a time, because we saw before the combos are so deadly, even with the tanks, because once you're up in the air and getting hit, it's really hard to get back down there and get back into the groove of things.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, the side of Boise State here, once again, you're comfortable, but keep this in mind, right? This does not mean Boise State wins at all, right? Syracuse did take game number 1 there, so they're gonna be comfortable. Even if you do end up losing this game to Boise State, you go into game 3, right? No team has won yet. Looks like we are gonna see a Joker come out for Boise State here. They need 1 stock. Here's the thing with this Joker, I was mentioning it last game too, right? You can take up some of that percentage, and once you reach a point, you start hitting hard, you start hitting heavy, and you start staying alive a lot longer. And if you're not careful, just a couple of these hits coming out for King DDD, and you're already going to be in that good spot.
Yes, definitely. And we see DDD's trying to play close to the edge because we're not sure what this Joker's playstyle is like. But right now, I think his focus is just charging up. But he's already at 41. Again, DDD is such a heavy hitter, just trying to get as many hits in as possible before Joker becomes more powerful. You see that here.
Exactly, you know, like you were saying, you know, just sort of waiting to get more powerful, and we are going to see that meter almost fully charged here. The percentages even, right? And once these percentages get even, if that meter is fully charged, you're kind of facing an even match, right? Both these characters are going to be able to put in a lot of pressure, some very powerful combos. There's the meter activated. This is where Syracuse has to be very, very careful, and you can't take this much percentage. You're playing against someone who has 2 more stocks than you.
Yes, exactly. And we see that trying to get close, but not too close. At the same time, not trying to stay too far because, like we were saying, Joker has crazy range and he's very strong up close. So DDD has to be super careful either way. And Joker is hanging on by the edge right now. It's a battle just to see who can get the higher percentage on each other.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, we saw that meter charged up, able to get some good value, sends the King DDD to 137%. The aggression we saw, right? Once that meter was charged, just went in, snap, snap, snap after combo after combo after combo, putting them in a comfortable spot. So even if you lose this stock, if you're Boise State, you're probably pretty comfortable because you're like, all right, cool, I need to do just a little bit, right?
And
Losing that stock. But Boise State, right, if you're thinking here, right, Syracuse is only probably 1 or 2 combos away from getting sent off, and Boise State will take this game, and there it is.
Unfortunate, but able to get 1 stock off of him, which was impressive because he was able to charge up relatively quickly against the King DDD.
Absolutely, you know, and that is where a lot of this goes. And speaking of going, that was game number 2. Boise State will take that game, but we're going to a game number 3, Izzy. Game number 3, match point for both of these teams. It's sudden death. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more Super Smash Bros. Ultimate action.
Woo!
Howdy, folks. We are back. And we are ready for some more action. And of course, we are straight back into the action. Lovely. Here we go. And a little bit of a change up here. 12 to 12. The stocks are ready. The clock has started. Min Min will be the player that we see. For those of you curious, Min Min is going to be your King DDD player. 8-0. The player that comes out first here against the Olimar for Boise State. Supersonic Izzy. We're back in this. We're game number 3. We're at match point. How are you feeling?
I mean, it's definitely super close, super intense. We see right here, switching it up. DDD was not quite working, so we're doing Min Min and Olimar. Again, you gotta keep those little guys out of his reach. And I mean, this is such a close game, it's so hard to tell.
It really is, right? These teams have been just battling out back and forth and back and forth. And, you know, that's what you want to see right in the Power Esports Conference. You want to see these hard back and forth gameplays. It proves the skill and the prowess that are these universities, right? But
yes.
Min Min going to be really trying to take this Olimar out here. But still even, the Pikmin are alive. And, well, a good block is going to come out. Both of these players facing knockout territory here. And all this Olimar has to do is find one hit. But Min Min finds the boxing glove and springs them out into a knockout. And that's going to be one stock up for Syracuse starting this game.
Yes, and Min Min's a very good mix of both up close and far damage. Look at those fists, able to get the Olimar off the side, getting those hits in, and not letting him use his little keys.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Min Min has the ability to take this long range. Gonna go even here, and right, what do you expect, right? We go game 1, even. Game 2, even. Of course, game number 3 is gonna start with probably the most even way you could possibly think of here, right? 11 to 11, no one really taking full advantage here. Both these players doing a very, very good job coming out. But BSU's Olimar, 97% and counting, really facing some risky spots, especially because this Min Min has such good range.
Yes, and also you see Min Min with the good parrying play style, dodging those attacks, but also still able to get up close, play aggressive, and also utilize her farther attacks. You see those doing some heavy damage on Olimar. 133, he's still fighting to stay in, but one more hit and he should be done, just like that.
Yeah, and that is going to be it, right? Boise State losing another stock here. Going to look to try to even this one back up. But this time, a lot less even, right? Last time, the Min Min was about at 100% there. But this time, it's not going to be there. And, you know, Olimar here, it's just a very uneven battle, right? You have to take such an aggressive approach, forcing yourself to use these Pikmin, right? But you need to then get up close and personal. This Min Min, that only job, keep that Olimar away, and that's what we've been seeing.
Definitely, and if I were Min Min, I would also have a goal of trying to keep those 2 stocks. Of course, the bigger goal is to just get this Olimar off, and just like that, he's able to do it with 2 stocks remaining. Good job, Syracuse.
Yeah, a good 2 stocks will keep Syracuse up in the lead here. 11 to 9 here. Boise State down 2 stocks to start with the Min Min. A different change of pace for Syracuse, right? That King DDD steps out and the Min Min punches in here. And now going forward, right? Boise State, you're back on that back burner once more, but you're comfortable in it, right? We've seen both these teams comfortable on the back burner. Now you send in your next player, right? We've seen a lot from Boise State so far, right? We've seen very powerful players like Palantina, very oppressive players like this King DDD. We've seen this Anchor come out a couple times as well, right? What do we go into next, right? You're going to go up against Min Min, a character who likes range and can just punch you out into the stratosphere. Who do you go next here, Izzy?
I don't know. It's super confusing and it's very unknown territory because what we've seen from Boise State, it's people who are good with range, but also good at being aggressive. And like we were saying before, especially the Palantina, they're very good at adapting. So while it is important to pick counters, pick people who do well against each other, it's most importantly about being able to adapt and use those attacks to your advantage.
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, Boise State, right, do you go with a character that you've played before, or do you try to change things up, right? That is sort of the question here, because Syracuse, they're willing to change things up, right? English is not my language. Sending in that Min Min first, right? That is definitely a change up. If you're Boise State here, what do you do next, right? Do you send in a little bit of a change up or of your own? Do you maybe send in this Palantina, right? But the reason this Palantina did so well is because she could play both right there, up close and personal, and long range, and have the adaptability to play both styles. Do you do that again against a character who kind of mirrors that play style?
not really sure. You would probably want to steer clear of that, probably save the Palantina for another round, and use someone who could get closer and drill through someone maybe like one of the pits, dark or light pit, someone like Mega Knight, even someone similar to Link, but not quite.
Yeah, definitely some good options here, right? To just drill in and really sort of prevent yourself, kind of give yourself that, in a sense, immortality going in for those engages, right? So a Mega Knight, very possible, like you were kind of saying. The Dark Pit, more of my personal touch there. I like the bow and arrow, right? But, at the end of the day, now Boise State gets to decide, right? How do they want to go about this against this Min, this different style of play, right? Because this is very different from everyone on Syracuse we've seen so far. Really, the Yoshi's the only one that has the closest play style to this with that longer range capability. But Min, you're kind of just playing for long into short, right? You're just going in for long range poke into short range slams is really what it comes down to. So if you're Boise State, this is a very interesting play, and where their coach needs to come in, right? We've kind of teased on a little bit these coaches, right? Their coach needs to come in and make a decision. And Izzy, do you have the script or something? How do you know? How do you know?
I'm kind of a mind reader.
The Mega Knight gonna be that play for Boise State as we get into this round here. Syracuse and Boise State 1-1 in this best-of-3 series.
And now they are even with the stocks down and a little taunting.
Yep,
and
just like that. Boise State going to be up those 3 stocks here.
Yeah.
And Syracuse already starting strong, but they need to make some changes now going up against this Mega Knight because it's very, very different, right? Both these teams playing different characters, playing different play styles, and going in for sort of the best they can is really what it comes down to, right? So if you're Boise State here, right, you're looking for these drills in to get into the fight, and we're seeing that, but a lot of this is just this Mega Knight playing really close.
Yeah, he definitely does not want Min to have the advantage of her distance because he doesn't have many long distance attacks. He is all about getting up close, getting those drills in, getting those jabs in, and being able to just shred off some health of her.
Exactly, yeah, and we're going to see it's relatively even right now, right? If you are the side of Boise State, you're aiming to take out these 2 stocks and go even going into the next round, right? Obviously, both these players not really playing to their, I guess, first pick, right? I'm not going to say their best pick, but definitely not going to matter, though. Min finds a good knock on the edge and will send Boise State down another stock. 8-11 here, Izzy. Things are getting a little dicey for Boise.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Min is definitely feeling more comfortable on the field. Again, this was more of a DDD last game, but we're seeing that mix of the range play style and the close-up play style, and it's working out really well for Syracuse right now. Even at 93%, feeling very confident, comfortable, and okay with getting up close to that Mega Knight and getting those hits in. 65% already. Look at that damage.
Yeah, really well played, Syracuse. Just really forcing these punches, forcing Boise State to just not be able to find the value. And some great backs going to go forward. Not going to be able to find that one, though. A good drill, but will find the edge guard slam. Syracuse University still on their first player, still 1 stock down. And Boise State, facing into these final 3, are in a little bit of a scary spot.
Yeah, that was really big. Another stock down. If Syracuse can get him off and not lose any more stocks, it would be incredible for them. And they did it!
And there it is, Boise State finding that loss of stocks. I mean, Syracuse able to find it again. Boise State, they're on their final 2 here, looking very, very strong. And this is where things can get very, very different, right? Boise State, who do you throw in next, right? This Min is really controlling the lobby. So going into this next round, right? Now do you start throwing in players like your Anchor, right? Players like your Palantina, right? Because you did just lose one of them, right? I'm not entirely sure which one you did, right? Did you throw your Palantina in for that player, or have you thrown in maybe your King DAD, or was this your Anchor, right? Going into this next couple rounds, you need to find a way to even up this series.
Yeah, and you could tell they were definitely trying to save the Palantina, trying to save the Anchors for later on, use them as almost like a trick up their sleeve, an ace up their sleeve, but ultimately, we are still on the first character, 2 stocks, so either way, they're going to have to force one of them out. If I had to guess, I think they want to save the anchor for last. Probably going to send out Palantina, or maybe they'll switch her up because, again, the playstyle is almost mirrored. We see that they both have the ranged attacks, they both have the distance attacks, they both do hefty damage from both areas.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So, keeping that anchor for the side of Boise State, do you send in this King DDD next, right? Is that who you send in? A very, very oppressive player we saw in game number 1. Can you do the same against this Min Min? A very interesting character, to say the least, right? Using these punches, charging them up, a little bit of just a better version of Little Mac. That may get me yelled at later, but it's okay. I'll take the blame for it. But that really is what you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
Or do you keep that King DDD for later tonight, right? For that anchor, who do you trust the most to take out this Min Min?
Yes, definitely. Min Min, we've seen she's very good with aerial combat. She's good with distance combat. She's very flexible in all places. And Palantina is out here again. I should become a fortune teller.
You really should, but go get a lottery ticket or something, because you're doing a great job right now, right?
I will stop by
Now,
CVS after this.
Best part for Syracuse, right? You only had to really take 1 stock out of yourself, right? You're still 2 up. Start with 12, and you're doing great. And just like that, this Palantina is already up to 54%. Starts to find a couple combo values, right? This is one of the players that we were talking about on the break a little bit. The adaptability from this Palantina, right, from Dr. Schmungus is just incredible, right? Just so fast at adapting to your opponent's playstyle. So for this Palantina, is this where things start to fall apart for Syracuse?
It's hard to say. I mean, again, this Min Min is very flexible, can do a lot with her attacks, her playstyle, and hopefully be enough to just throw up the Palantina, at least get 1 or 2 stocks off of her, and keep that lead for Syracuse, because we cannot have Palantina keeping all of her stocks. It would just, listen, Syracuse would still have the lead, but it could be more dangerous for sure.
Absolutely, right? Especially when you start getting so close, right? You already have her at 93%, so a couple more hits and you'll send her out, right? A great one comes out and flat on the screen. The Palantina loses a stock. Boise State to their final 5 to Syracuse's double digits of 11 stocks remaining. Right, this Palantina, we were saying she's great at adapting, but this Min Min just may be better.
This Min Min is just not giving her time to adapt, constantly changing the playstyle, constantly changing the angle coming from, whether it's aerial, distance, up close. She just does not have the time to be able to use these attacks. You see her missing the distance once, you see her missing her grabs, and it's very clear here.
Yeah, and this Min Min, 150% will send them off, right? But if you're Syracuse, that's okay, right? You already took 1 off of this Palantina, who is very powerful, right? We know how scary this Palantina is. If you can find 1 more stock, you're going to be a little bit more comfortable, right? We saw this Palantina take a solid 6 stocks last round, right? You do not want to see that again. That will even the score back up if you let this Palantina live, right? And she knows that too, right? She knows that keeping these stocks will put her in a very, very good spot. Will keep Boise in a very, very good spot, because you don't want to bring your anchor out yet, right? Especially when Syracuse has 5 more stocks than you. This Palantina is staying alive, though.
Yes, and we see that damage is just going up. If you are just relentless with the attacks, it is impossible for Palantina to get in anything. She can't use her distance attacks, and she can't quite get up close because, again, that flexible playstyle for Min Min is just so hard to adapt to. And look at that, 152, and somehow she is still standing. Maybe she's secretly Gandorf or something.
Maybe, right? And we're just going to see this Min Min is just spamming down, really trying to find that value, just that 1 more hit to send this Palantina out. And there it is. Takes another stock off of this Palantina, which is going to put Boise State at the back end here. And might I add here, right, 8 stocks have been taken out from Min Min here. A beautiful 8, starting from the 12 down to this 4, putting in so much pressure on this Palantina. Might be able to take them out as well. This Palantina from Boise State, the really last stand for Boise State before that anchor has to come out, trying to take out the first member in this final game for Syracuse.
Yes, and this Min Min is just on fire constantly with the attacks, barraging her to the point where she can't get in a solid attack, can't get the percentage high up enough to get in a big hit. And we see that she's trying to get the grab, she's trying to get something close, reaching for anything at this point, and Syracuse is just relentless, and you see that.
Exactly right. I mean, already at 82%, Boise State knows that this Palantina needs to not fall here, right? You've already lost so many stocks. You've lost 8 stocks to this Min-Min. You cannot afford to lose anymore. Syracuse's Min-Min, though, feeling great right now, right? We're going to see Ado just feel incredible on this Min-Min. And even if you do lose this stock here, you've taken 8, right? 8 stocks taken for the side of Syracuse. And Boise State, that Palantina alive, but only with 1 stock left. A lot can happen, though, with this 1 stock, right? If you're Syracuse, first off, great plays, right? 8 stocks taken. That's going to be 8 clips that you could go take. And the only place you can go take those clips is if you go to the Twitter and Instagram. So be sure to check that out at Qs_esports. And of course, we've got more games, more PEC action later along the line. So be sure to go check that out. That's going to be on YouTube at Syracuse Esports. Don't miss any of the action. But speaking of the action, we're not done yet, Izzy. We've got so much more to go. Boise State on the back burner by a lot right now.
Yes, and we were really able to get them cornered, put them on the back burner, like you said, using Min-Min, using her flexible playstyle, and being completely unpredictable to the point where the Palantina just couldn't adapt quick enough, and that's why we were able to shred off 2 of her stocks. Now, Syracuse has to pick someone who will be able to just get this Palantina off the board and move on to the anchor and take the win, hopefully.
Exactly, right? Syracuse now needs to pick that one player, right? That player who can really just find that 0 to 100, right? And we may see that Luigi coming in, right? That one player, right? Palantina, we've seen good adaptability. We've seen good adaptability. We've seen very good play styles, but this Luigi, one miss input and you're gone, right? And that sends Boise State to that anchor. That sends Boise State to their last player, right, to really see how strong they are, right? Because as an anchor, we've only seen them in these final battles a few times, right? So, and likely, if I had to guess, it is going to be their King DDD player, right? But I do want to point one thing out. The Yoshi from Syracuse has still not been played.
Yes, that is true, and he is definitely a powerhouse, one that is definitely an ace up the sleeve for Syracuse. But honestly, at this point, we're going to have to see if they even need to use him, because Palantina's down to 1, and then there's only those 3 stocks left. If the next player can somehow get her down and somehow get 3 stocks, that is game. All that Syracuse needs to focus on right now, though, is getting this Palantina off the board and focusing on the anchor.
Absolutely right. Just taking down this Palantina, even if you lose a couple stocks, right? That's where Syracuse is right now. You're in such a good position. You can afford to lose a couple stocks if you really need to, right? Just send this Palantina up a lot into that very high percentage and then just kick him off the map, right? That's really where you can play for. And that's the good thing for Syracuse. If you're up by 5 stocks, is you can kind of just play around a little bit, right? But
yes,
you don't want to give them too much credit, right? Because if you do end up losing 2 stocks to this Palantina, and this Palantina is still kicking and still alive, you may lose Luigi.
Yeah, I mean, listen, my mom always told me not to play with my food, but I think that Syracuse kind of has the right to do that right now. They have some flexibility. They have the stretching room to be able to, you know, not necessarily play around, but, you know, try something new. Try to get this Palantina to not be able to adapt. And we see Luigi trying to do that right now, trying to dodge those plays and also get in some hits on her.
Yeah, I mean, this Luigi's putting in some great work to this Palantina right now. Some great dodges coming out as well. No need to do a 0 to 100 if you can just slowly peck up that percentage. And we're going to see that, right? This Palantina in a very uncomfortable situation. 4 stocks for Boise State. You don't really want to send this to your anchor at a 6 stock deficit if you send it down to this anchor. Syracuse is nice and comfortable. This Luigi, 54%, still kicking, still standing, still plunging, and looking to just send this Palantina off.
Yeah, and we see that. Look at that aggressive play style for Palantina to not be able to adapt, because like we've been constantly saying, she is just constantly picking up on these moves and trying something new, and Luigi just does not want to give her that opening. He does not want to let her get in all those hits, because we saw before she has those barrages. She has high damage if you let her do it, and just like that, for example.
Yeah, and you know, that is one of the good things, right, for Syracuse, kind of like you were saying. you can afford this, right? You can afford a stock or two, right? And this is going to send that Palutena not quite off, though, just barely standing 171%, one hit, and this Palutena is gone, right? But you're down 2 stocks. If this Palutena plays good, plays these dodges very, very well, you could lose another stock for Luigi. You cannot get too cocky here, right? This Palutena has shown that she knows how to play. She's shown that she knows how to adapt. You cannot let her get the value, but she is forcing this range, not letting this Luigi get anywhere close, is he?
Yeah, she is just trying to not leave any room for any mistake. She's at 171, even the slightest little hit, a sneeze could send her flying off the map. Luigi's able to save himself, and if he could just get the smallest hit on her, she will probably go soaring across the map.
Exactly.
One hit.
And there it is. A nice tornado will send the Palutena away and not in Kansas anymore. And with that, Syracuse facing one more member, the anchor for Boise State, before taking home not just a victory, Izzy, but the first victory of the week for Syracuse University against Boise State. This could be the team that does it. This could be the night to do it. You want to mark it in your calendars, not in my notes because I had the date wrong. I was a day off. We were talking about that earlier. But on the right date, the 26th of September, not the 22nd, but the 26th of September, folks. Mark it because this could be it. Syracuse has 3 players left.
Yes, and like I was saying before, that first round win was huge for Syracuse. They needed it for ego. They needed it for confidence, and you could see that now. They feel so comfortable. They have the stocks. They have the players. They still have the anchor, and this is huge for Syracuse. If we are able to just get those stocks down, it's game over.
Exactly, right? And, you know, if you're Boise State, you got one player. That one player has to be the most flexible player you have. And here's the reason why, right? You got to go up against this Luigi, so you may go up, you know, you may say, all right, cool, let's go up, let's pick someone that has some good ability to go forward, right? But then you've got 2 more players, right? We know who Boise State's likely going to pick, right? Bringing out that King DDD into this fight. Leia, right? Bringing them into this fight. 9th best player in Idaho, right? We've seen them do a lot. And here's the scary part. They took 5 stocks in game number 1, right? It is very possible that we see this King DDD do the exact same thing and bring Syracuse and Boise into an anchor battle of this Yoshi and this King DDD. But that's a long way to go. This King DDD has a lot of progress to go.
Yes, and like we were saying before, Syracuse still has some room, still comfortable. So right now, Luigi's main goal is just to get at least 1 stock off of this King DDD. And hopefully, that will just be enough to put Syracuse over the edge, use their anchor or one other player that they have, and just win it all.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know, one good thing here for the side of Syracuse is that 0 to 100 move, Luigi can do it to anyone in the game, right? So this is a very, very powerful opportunity for Syracuse to get the ability to bring it up against this Luigi. But to do that, you have to get close, and this King DDD can be very comfortable up close, right? But they need to make some changes. 90% already, right? That's going to be good, right? Boise State, you cannot afford to lose a single stock here against Syracuse. They have 5 stocks on you. You cannot afford this.
Yes, and we see Luigi barely has taken any damage. 15% to 130 now. 1 or 2 more hits, and King DDD will probably go flying off of the board. Now, Luigi has to play carefully because DDD is trying to get more comfortable up close. But Luigi's playing smart, shielding, you know, parrying as needed. But it seems like DDD just can't get a grip on Luigi the right way. And that hit still doesn't set him off the map, but is so close.
Yeah, really, it really is, right? 162%, 1 more will send them off, right? This anchor for the side of Boise State, right? That player that you trust to bring the team back when you're at a deficit, right? That player that you need to help the team to bring back after that deficit. And they're facing 200%, right? So maybe you get a stock off this Luigi, right? And it looks like not quite a good recovery comes in, right? You get a stock off, but you gotta get 2 and not lose 1.
Yeah, and like we were saying before, Luigi can take some hits. He might not be a heavyweight, but he can take some hits. So DDD not only has to be able to... Oh, my. Nope, not quite. And Luigi lost another stock. But DDD is high on damage. Luigi could literally get 1 stock off of him, and Syracuse could still be very comfortable.
Yeah, exactly, right? Even if you don't get one stock, you're still pretty comfortable here, right? I mean, this King DDD, they are forced and locked on King DDD for the next 7 stocks if it needs to, right? So if you're Syracuse, you have a lot of flexibility to change if you need to, but ideally, you take this stock, right? It's going to be a little annoying if you bring them up to 200% and you can't quite take them out, but if you are, you're still comfortable even if you can't, right? But one mistake coming out from the side of Boise State's King DDD, right? One mistake from Leodog, and it's over, right? But still there. Syracuse is trying to take this stock 202%. One hit will send this King DDD away, but they are just living through it right now, Izzy.
DDD is just not leaving any room for mistakes, not letting any hits get in. 212% and somehow still standing. He is smoking.
Wow.
He is fighting for his life. Somehow still alive. Luigi just needs one solid hit and he's done for. I cannot believe this guy is still alive.
Yeah, you know, I've seen a lot of Smash, Izzy, for the past few years, and it's very rare you see someone go up to 233%. But gets a nice hit. Now that Luigi is also facing one-hit territory, both of these players are.
Oh my goodness!
Okay, no one's going off the map. This is just going to be an infinite percentage game.
My God, both of these characters are taking such damage and not going down. DDD and Luigi fighting, and Luigi loses his stock, not able to get one off of DDD, but still super impressive. I can't believe both of them stayed alive that long.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whether you're Syracuse or you're Boise State there, right? Boise State, you're on that back burner. Obviously, you've got 2 more players to go up against. Syracuse not able to find that one stock. That was just an enjoyable little last few seconds there. I mean, both players almost 250% for the King DDD. You have the Luigi at like 170%. It's like, all right, who's going to go off the map first?
I mean, I have never seen such a close, high-up match before. Both of their health literally at one hit, and they were just playing ping-pong with each other, hitting each other off of the map and not dying.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it happens, right? And I will say this, right? Though it was fun, though it felt nice, Boise State, no stocks lost. That is very, very good for them, right? Because, you know, at the start of the round, right, if you're down a stock, you make it even. You're down like, okay, 2, now you're 3 stocks, right? You don't go up to the other percentage, though, right? So this Boise State King DDD, you played a lot of risky gameplay up at 250%. You're back down at 0 now, right? It's a reset. It's a 3 stock versus 3 stock here. If you're Syracuse, who do you send out here, Izzy?
Probably someone tanky. You got to, you know, be able to balance that out because like we saw before, it was just damage and damage. And at the end of the day, it was just who could handle taking more hits. So Syracuse would probably have to end up taking someone who could take more hits, but also distribute them like we see right here with King Pool.
Yep, and it will be K Rule coming out for Syracuse here. Boise State, though, finding a great start off now, like you were mentioning, right? Playing that more of a heavier, that tankier type of character, right? K, you're up at 105, but you're okay, right? You can take a few more hits here coming from this King DDD, but you're also doing a great job, right? The adaptation, we mentioned it multiple times tonight, Izzy, coming back out and finding that value. Here's the biggest thing here, right? That Luigi, you only had about 200% to really play with, right?
And there's a stock.
There is a stock
Boise
as well.
State, 6 for Syracuse. King K. Rool is a kind of high on the percentage, but again, he is tankier. He is bigger, but ultimately he did lose that stock.
Yeah, and it's 2-2, right? This would be, you know, a little bit scarier if this was the final 2 stocks, right? Syracuse has one more player in the back, and we know who that player is. We know that is the Yoshi for the side of Syracuse, right? But right now, we've got this King K. Rule going out, and this is really where things are different, right? This is going to be your Millsharks, this third-year graduate student coming out, taking this fight right now, and doing a very good job, right? Just trying to put in that pressure, take out as many stocks as you can to go up against this Syracuse roster. Now, if you're Boise State, though, right, if you can take this player out, you're almost even.
Yes, that is so true. And again, while they do have one stock off, this DDD has proven to be resilient, he's durable, and he's able to draw out a fight because of his strong health, because of his strong hits. And that is what King K. Rule has to be very careful about because he is already up in the 120s. DDD and him fighting by the edge. again for control over the side. And DDD.
Yep. You know, and we're going to see a good hit comes in from the side of Boise State's Leia, right? And with that, Leia Dog in a good spot, right? The King DDD has the percentage to work with here and is already going to make it really close to even here. It does not want to lose another stock, right? If you're going into this final match, 2 stocks, only a 1 stock disadvantage, you have the chance, right? A good stun's going to come in, though, and this could be it. A stock gone. Syracuse finds the value. That's going to put Boise State final stock left. Sudden death here for the side of Boise State.
Yes, Boise State is in very dangerous territory now. 1 stock left. K-Rool was at about 71%, which again, he is bigger, he is stronger, so he is able to handle these hits. If he's able to just get his hands on DDD, get those hits in, it's possible he could end the game right here.
Oh, a good hit comes in. This Boise State player does not want to give a chance to Syracuse to bring this back, but Izzy, right? Very good plays coming out from Boise State. You cannot count them out yet.
Nope.
But Syracuse, that ace up the sleeve, the berry-eating dinosaur, the one individual we have left, the Yoshi.
Yes, that is true. We have yet to see Yoshi in action this round, and it is going to be very interesting to see. Again, DDD only has 1 stock left. He's going to have to play super safe, but at the same time, be able to get damage in on that Yoshi because he has 3 stocks, he's aggressive, and he has the damage.
Exactly, right? You have the ability to take a lot of these hits from the Yoshi, but here's one of the biggest things, right? This Yoshi can play range. That is one of the biggest disadvantages that Boise State's King DDD has. You are going up against a player who has this egg range, right? And that is going to put you a little bit of a scary spot, right? You got to go egg hunting if you want to find your way through to this Yoshi, and that's going to be very difficult to do. So when you're in this final 2, right, you're in this spot. If you're Syracuse, you're kind of in the spot that Boise State was last game, right? You have the ability, bring this heavier character up in percentage for your first stock, maybe your second stock, and send them out for your third.
Yes, and Yoshi is very good at getting them up in the air and unable to attack just relentlessly with the kicks, the tail whips, constantly. And again, like you said, the range too is crucial because although DDD has that range, Yoshi's egg can consume and counter that. So DDD is in some dangerous territory, 1 stock, an aggressive Yoshi. Boise State has to be really careful.
Exactly, right? And that is the question, right? Do you send in this tail whip of the aggression from the Yoshi? Because if you do, that's going to be where Boise State thrives, right? Where they want to take these close battles, these close matches. And if you give that opportunity to Leia, that could be exactly what they want, right? A couple good combos, 40% each, right? If this King DD does it right. Sending Yoshi to 80%, that's scary, you know? So if you're in that spot, the taunt sends it off here, Izzy, and we approach 3 stocks for Syracuse, 1 for Boise State. The match is on the line here as Syracuse looks to bring one on the board.
Yoshi just going in for the hits, trying to get DDD as high as possible. Get that stock out of the way. 101 already. Yoshi is such a heavy hitter, such an aggressive hitter. All he needs is to get close, get those hits in, and not let DDD hit him too much.
Yeah, exactly right. King DDD trying to get this value, but this Yoshi too aggressive. 130, 140. This could be it. Izzy, a couple more hits, and Syracuse will take home tonight's crown. Will take home this week's victors for the esports champions. And here it is. Syracuse University grabs the stock, 73%. Wow. A sweat not broken, and that will be the victory for Syracuse University against Boise State tonight.
Incredible job by Syracuse. Incredible job by Boise State, too. Again, at the end of the day, that Yoshi, that aggression was just what ultimately brought Syracuse their victory.
Very well played coming out from both of these teams tonight. Some amazing plays all week in the Power Esports Conference. Boise State, you may have taken game 1 on Monday. You may have taken game 2 on Tuesday. That one hurt me a little bit. You may have taken game 3 on Wednesday, but you are not taking 4. You are not coming out on top, Boise. Your rivals are here, and they are here to stay in the Power Esports Conference. Next week, we got Ohio State going up all week. Monday is going to be Rock League. Tuesday Tuesday, Overwatch. Wednesday is going to be Valorant, and Thursday, your defending champions against Boise State will be Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I've been Ryan Blankenhorn. This has been Izzy Kaplan. We hope you have an amazing morning, evening, afternoon, and we'll see you next week.